Capoeira.
Oh, okay, Capoeira.
So Capoeira is it's a Afro-Brazilian martial art.
Yeah.
I'm a practitioner. I've been practicing maybe for 5 years, and I think
cool.
It's kind of been branded in the West as a martial art, and it's not really. It is a martial art, but it's kind of broader than that. I think it's kind of hard to explain, but essentially Capoeira was when you had slaves come over from Africa during the slave trade.
Yeah.
They came over to Brazil, and they so you had the merging of all these different African tribes, right? So Africa's just not one place. It's a bunch of different villages, towns that all have their own different cultures. Yeah. And they came over to Brazil, and when they got in Brazil, they were obviously enslaved.
Yeah.
So they had the merging of their African cultures, but also the merging of indigenous cultures. Yeah. And one of the things I like to think of Capoeira as like a cultural practice. Yeah. So essentially, the slaves couldn't practice martial arts, right? Because the slave owner, if you were a slave owner,
you'd be like, hey,
and you sat, on your ranch sipping tea all day, you wouldn't want, your large.
You wouldn't want to see Neo coming up through the ranks or like, yeah.
You wouldn't want a large group of the oppressed
knowing martial arts.
Martial arts. So what the slaves had to do is they had to hide that they were martial arts training. So what they did is they kind of disguise it as like a game. So Capoeira is played in a circle called a roda, and there's music there. So they kind of made it look like they were dancing. And the slave owners were, it was a way for them to kind of not only train their martial arts, but also keep their culture alive. So Capoeira, there's lots of songs and dancing. Here's a clip of course we got to get the commercial in there. But essentially here's just a clip just to give you an example of what it looks like when people are playing. So this is kind of left in the little shirt. He's Mestre Cobra Mansa. He's one of my favorite. Mestres are like masters of martial arts. But essentially you have two people playing in the roda, and the group around that is playing instruments and singing songs and clapping. So it's kind of was disguised to look like a dance, and they're training martial arts. But as you can see, if a slave owner saw that, they might not think, that they're fighting. It looks like they're dancing. So what they're doing is they're playing Capoeira, and I like to think of it as a game. It's more of a game than a cultural expression, because each person develops their kind of own style as they play.
Yeah, it's interesting that they had their own secret. They were connected culturally to themselves, and they knew it, but the masters didn't. I think there's a lot of that going on. Like, if you maybe listen to music of like different traditional music from like African Americans, I think there's a lot of coded language in there about where maybe like it sounds like a little minstrel song to us, but then when you really think about it, it's like, wait a minute, what are they actually talking about? There's like there's one where it goes something about shoe fly shoe, my master went away. Something like it's a whole song where it goes do do do. It's like a happy little song, like do 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 do. My master went away, and it goes something song like, oh, we went out riding, and a horse like a fly bit the horse, and my master fell down and he died. He went away. Yeah. I can't recall the exact song, but it sounds like a cute little song. But in the song, the guy goes out with his master, and the master dies.
Yeah.
And he goes, flew shy, shoe fly shoe.
In Capoeira, there's lots of songs. Yeah. So, like, even when they're singing, they're singing to, like, São Bento is a person they sing to, who is Saint Benjamin. So a lot of times they've adopted Catholic saints, but they're actually they're saying they're actually praying to like African or Orishas or African gods. There's this weird kind of blending of Catholicism, with the African religion, and even in Capoeira too, each person gets like an apellido or like kind of a nickname that only they know in the thing. So if me and you, and even there's different rhythms. So if we're playing, there's an actual rhythm that you play that lets everyone know that the police are coming. But even the apellidos, everyone gets a nickname, so that if we're talking about you, John, we might talk about you as, your answer man might be your apellido. Like, we know who the answer man is, but the cops, if they hear an answer man, they're not going to know. So even criminals do it too. If they have nicknames that the cops don't.
Like the SLA did that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's a different way, but something I've been practicing. I think it's helped me too. Just I think develop not only physically but also just kind of musically, and I think it's been good. I've enjoyed practicing it, and yeah, it's still pretty. It really only came over to the United States in like the 1970s, so it's still even relatively new in the United States. Because in Brazil it's like a thing, but in the United States it's not really.
Whoa. See, I'd like to see that in an action film.
Well, yeah. So I think there is I think it's Black Panther and there's some cultural, a few cultural things, but yeah, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that's. So that's Capoeira.
Oh.